3R Chain. The 3R chain is the very first weapon Rudo made using his vital instrument. You see, before Injin saved him from the trash beast in chapter 2, after Rudo got thrown into the pit, Injin actually saw that Rudo had the potential to be a giver. Because face to face with a giant trash beast, Rudo picks up a random stick, and his gloves spark black matter like it was trying to activate. Now that random stick didn't turn into Excalibur or anything, but it was the first sign. A little later, Rudo awakened his first vital instrument through 3R. Later on, Injin tied Rudo up and left him in a human village to help him learn how things work down in the ground. But instead of helping him, the people in that place chained him up even tightly. It turns out they wanted to sell Rudo for a huge price because he came from the sphere, also called Heaven. Long story short, Rudo snapped. His gloves activated, and he broke out of wherever they were keeping him. But he still had the chains wrapped around his hands. This time, the chains turned black. A spiked collar formed around his hand, and Rudo was the one controlling them. Rudo's gloves are part of the Watchman series, an ancient set of weapons once worn by his ancestor, Rudo Surebrec. These gloves are called 3R, short for reduce, reuse, recycle. With them, Rudo has the power of creation. He can take broken or discarded junk, anything people throw away, and turn it into a new weapon by drawing out and maximizing the remaining value or potential of anything he touches to the fullest. This power runs on thought, which is Gachiakuta's power system. Rudo can create up to 3 weapons, or focus all his strength into just one to make it 2 or 3 times stronger, like what he did with the nail cannon. More on that later. But this comes at a price. If he uses it too much, he starts getting nosebleeds and becomes super exhausted because his body can't keep up. Once a weapon's job is done and Rudo feels calm and at ease, the item turns into dust. That means it's completely used up. It's an incomplete combustion, as if he burned out everything useful in that object. Rudo used the 3R chains to fight off the traffickers who were ready to send him to the graveyard. The power of this weapon is about a B rank, but it's still more than enough to crush the non-givers. The chains can smash boulders and tear up the ground. They've also got solid reach, so Rudo can use them as a semi-long range weapon. But when one of the traffickers got too close and attacked directly, the chains got knocked out of Rudo's hands. Spiked tire. Right after the enemy managed to knock the 3R chains out of Rudo's hands, Rudo quickly grabs a random tire from the ground. Using his gloves, he turns them into a cool looking spiked tire. It's just as powerful as the chains, but it works even better at close range. Rudo slams it right into a trafficker's head and knocks him out in one hit. After that, Rudo goes straight for their leader, ready to finish the job with the spiked tire. But before he could take things too far, Injin steps in and stops him. Lucky Charm. This is the first ever complete vital instrument that Rudo made with 3R. It all started with a small, cheap amulet that Gris used to pray to before every mission, hoping everyone would come back safely. After Gris got stabbed by Jabber's Mancura, Rudo thought he was done for. So, in the middle of the fight, Rudo grabbed Gris's amulet and used 3R to turn it into a full-blown vital instrument. The amulet transformed into a giant floating eye with sharp lashes and a bunch of big shadowy limbs, kind of like arms or wings. Zonka even said it looked like a flying giant squid. It has a huge destructive power of absolutely 0. You see, because Gris had been praying to this amulet for everyone's safe return, Rudo imagined the Lucky Charm as a tool for protection. He hopes the enemy's attack won't reach, and that's exactly what the vital instrument does. It has the ability to detect hostility and direct it away from Rudo. Every time Jabber attacks, the Lucky Charm will forcibly position him out of the attack range. It can reposition him automatically and randomly, or Rudo can also position him where he wants him to be, or extend the flight distance. Even if the enemy is hiding or blocking the Lucky Charm's vision, or even moving at extreme speed, the Lucky Charm will find them right away. This means Rudo can avoid any of Jabber's attacks without moving an inch. And he can pull Jabber closer to him so he can punch him square in the face, but it only worked on things that had the actual intent to harm. It couldn't block random debris or attacks without a target. When Jabber went berserk by injecting himself with his own poison and losing consciousness, he broke through the Lucky Charm's rules because his attacks were done mindlessly. That's when Zonka came in. He purposely aimed his attacks at Rudo with strong intent, just so the charm would move Zonka to a spot where Jabber would end up getting hit instead. In the end, the amulet crumbled into dust, but Gris was just glad that something important to him helped Rudo. Hold up real quick. You see, the Watchman Gloves are hiding a mechanic that almost broke the system, and so far, only Rudo can use that skill. So, if you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, because the final 3R weapons are straight up game-breaking. Let's go. Keyboard. This keyboard is a vital instrument that can wipe out a trash beast just by typing a word and hitting enter. It started off as a busted keyboard, missing keys and all. But on the way to meet the Lady of Penta and Amo, Rudo turned it into a vital instrument using 3R. This thing has a long range, can be used in all sorts of ways, and hits with A-tier firepower. Rudo literally typed a mid-finger curse on it, hit enter, and the giant trash beast got taken down. Right after that, the keyboard broke apart and crumbled to dust, but the job was done. Plunger. Now this vital instrument has the psychological damage of S that can single-handedly rob the enemy of their will to fight. Well, depending on who Rudo used it for. This vital instrument was an ordinary plunger lying inside the garbage bin when Rudo picked it up and turned it into a vital instrument. At this point, nobody really knew how Rudo's powers worked yet. Zonka even thought that Rudo can turn anything he touched into a weapon, but that's not exactly how it works. Rudo picked up the plunger because Zonka thought Rudo was making fun of him. He also believed Rudo was just using the cleaners for his own goals that Zonka called worthless. After that, things got ugly. Zonka, using his lovely assist staff, landed clean hits and dodged Rudo's plunger attacks easily, calling it useless. But then he noticed something nasty on his cheek. Turns out, the plunger had number 2 matter on it. Yep, it was still dirty when Rudo made it a weapon. Even worse, Rudo had no idea what a plunger even was, so he kept swinging it around like a serious weapon. Rudo uses plunge swing. The attack misses, but it's still super effective. Zonka gave up and ran off, and Rudo thought he was winning with pure weapon and skill. Only later did he realize he was basically fighting so confidently with literal waste and didn't even know it. Broken fence. After Rudo visited the Cleaners HQ for the first time, he found out that Arca, the boss, wasn't around to make his membership official. So, Rio suggested that Rudo tag along and observe their work as an apprentice instead. During the mission, Rudo watched how Rio, Folo, Gris, and Tome did their jobs, but that didn't mean he could just stand around doing nothing. Rudo noticed that the bull-like trash beast's skull was still alive and hiding under the trash, ready to launch a surprise attack on Folo. Thinking fast, Rudo grabbed a broken fence nearby and turned it into a vital instrument. But because he was still new to using 3R, the weapon came out looking weird. It looked more like a tangled mess of branches forming a net, which wasn't at all what Rudo had pictured. His lack of experience showed, as if Rudo didn't know how to use his powers in the first place. Still, the broken fence was strong enough to protect both Rudo and Folo from the incoming attack and buy just enough time for Rio to land the final blow. The fence crumbled right after, and Rudo realized that he still didn't know how to fully control his 3R power. And that leads us to the next vital instrument, set square. After surviving the Raiders' ambush, where they fought Jabber and the others, Rudo found out he couldn't use 3R properly. He tried using it on a knife that looked clean enough to chop vegetables, but nothing happened. Thanks to Zonka's guess, Rudo realized that his power only works on trash or stuff that's broken or thrown away. So now, Rudo had to dig through a pile of old junk and test which items could become vital instruments. One of the things he picked up was a triangular ruler, also called set square. Well, it might not actually be a ruler. It could have been scrap metal, a piece of an old machine, or even a broken part of furniture. But let's just call it set square to keep it simple. When he used 3R on it, the set square turned into a big, black triangular-shaped blade with a sharp edge and a handle. It could be used up close like an assassin's dagger, or thrown for long-range attacks. But Rudo didn't get to use it in battle as it was just part of a test. And this wasn't the only thing he made during that round of trial and error. Teapot. Right after turning the set square into a vital instrument, Rudo tried making a new one. This time, he used 3R on a regular teapot. The result? It turned completely black, got a bit bigger, and now has a longer handle. Just like the set square though, Rudo didn't use this one in an actual fight, so we still don't know what kind of power it has. Doll. Along with the set square and teapot, Rudo also turned a discarded doll into a vital instrument. After transforming, the doll showed a creepy grin. It had a spiky collar and wore a hoodless black cloak that covered its whole body. The thing is, no one knows what this doll can actually do. It was the last vital instrument Rudo made during that whole test. After using 3R too much, he got a nosebleed. His body just couldn't take the stress anymore. You see, in Gachiakuta, vital instruments have something called quality. The more care you show in an item over time, the stronger and more useful it becomes when turned into a vital instrument. That's called improved quality. And since RUDO'S gloves are part of the Watchman series, they can create equally stronger or even more powerful vital instruments than that. But here's the thing. The set square, teapot, and doll didn't crumble into dust like Rudo's other creations. Usually, they break down after being used because their leftover value is all used up. And they have no more regrets. This time though, Rudo hasn't really used these three for anything big yet, so they're still around. This 3R doll might have some cool powers we haven't seen yet, but if you want to see a cursed doll that's actually crazy strong, check out here. I talked all about it in the God tier vital instrument video, so check that out after this if you haven't yet. Old paintbrush. This vital instrument came from an old paintbrush or brush pen that Rimland gave to Rudo as a thank you gift for helping out with the mural in Canvas Town. Rudo ended up using it while being chased by a bunch of trash beasts during their game of tag with Kuro, the information broker. Rimland gave the pen to Rudo when it was already out of ink. But when Rudo used it as a vital instrument, he squeezed out the little bit of ink that was left and spread it across the road while the car was moving. The trash beast stepped on it, and Rudo activated the trap card at just the right moment. The ink turned into big spikes that shot up and pierced the trash beast, taking out a bunch of them. Rudo definitely gets an A+ for creativity here, especially since he came up with this idea after spending time with Rimlin and the others in Canvas Town. Later on, Rudo uses the brush pin again, this time to create a huge drawing of Rimlin to destroy a tunnel. He wanted to break it without sending anyone to the graveyard, so he imagined something soft and safe, just like how Rimlin brings drawings to life. Well, thinking of Rimlin, he literally drew a smiling Titan version of Rimlin before Kothoni crushed the tunnel with him still inside. It looked kinda blobby because Rudo pictured something where the ink stays soft so it wouldn't harm his teammates. The big ink Rimlin even managed to trap Jabber for a while, and thanks to that, Rudo and the squad cleared that stage. Next up, they've got to take down the King of Tori in the jungle No Man's Land. Box. This ancient box is the weapon Rudo used to swallow the King of Tori whole. The King of Tori is a boss-level trash beast that reacts to any sound or movement, whether it's another trash beast or a person. At this point, Rudo's mission was to catch Kuro without being noticed. However, Kuro is utilizing the King of Tori for himself, using the raiders and the cleaners as bait so he can sneak around without the King of Tori finding him. That didn't last though, as the trash beast ended up noticing him too. But that doesn't matter. The real reason Kuro was here was because of the box. At the bottom of it, there's Rudo Surebrec's logo. Kuro had spent many long days just to pay for the item inside it. The problem is, the box won't open. It's like it's broken. And since it's broken, that means Rudo's 3R can weaponize it. Rudo decided to turn the box into a vital instrument. Folo didn't like the idea and was worried that Kuro was using Rudo for something bad. Injin didn't stop him though. He trusted Rudo's skills. But the truth is, nobody really cared about the box, except Rudo. And that made him feel sad. Here's the strange part. When the box turned into a vital instrument, it felt like it looked at Rudo, like it responded to how he felt. It transformed into a giant monster head, and it quickly bit the King of Tori again and again until it finally ate the whole thing. Rudo's idea was simple. Instead of opening the box like Kuro wanted, he used its real purpose of putting things inside it. That's how they beat the King of Tori. After the fight, Kuro finally revealed what the box's content really was. The box contains Rudo Surebrec's last will and testament, which is his final letter to his descendants. Yes, it was written for Rudo's bloodline. What's written inside? I broke it all down in my Giver video. Watch that after this one if you want the full story. Anyway, just having Canis' logo doesn't mean the box itself is part of the Watchman series, as Kuro confirmed. Later on, Zodil showed up, fought the cleaners, and even managed to land a hit on the box. The thing is, the box was already at full capacity from eating the King of Tori. And since Rudo has designed it to only hold that one specific thing, he couldn't use it to attack Zodil. It was just too full to move. After Zodil left to protect Momoa and her stolen memories, Rudo stayed behind for a moment to sincerely thank the box before they left the jungle No Man's Land. Net. This net is a vital instrument Rudo made just to deal with the tiny black dust balls created by a trash beast. These little dust balls enter people's mouths, choking them and breaking them down from the inside. Because they're small, the net is perfect for cleaning them up. It works so well that Tamsi even reacts in a funny way when he realizes Rudo basically copied one of his own vital instrument's function. Using 3R, the net has power equal to Tokushin, even if Tamsi was holding back at the time. It's great at trapping a bunch of the dust-type trash beasts, and wiping them out once they've been lured in. Rudo goes in first, clears a path, and breaks the enemy's ranks. Then Tamsi finishes the rest off. The combo of net and Tokushin works perfectly here. The problem is, the dust trash beasts actually have a main body, and it's in an abandoned house. If Rudo and the squad doesn't destroy that, the dust beast will keep coming no matter what. And sadly, the net alone isn't enough to stop that kind of enemy. Blow dryer. You see, the abandoned house trash beast has some sort of above average intelligence compared to the other wild trash beasts. Watching Rudo and Tamsi deal with the dust balls, it sends a pig-like monster made of dust that walks and moves like a human. It uses clothes as a kind of armor and wields a garden fork as a weapon. Net alone is completely ineffective against it, but with blow dryer, it works now. Alongside Net, Rudo turns a blow dryer into a vital instrument and fights using both. The wind power is crazy strong, enough to blow the trash beast away. At the same time, Rudo uses the net to trap and finish off the smaller dust enemies. Rudo dual wields these vital instruments like Kirito using Starburst Stream to go up against the new pig-type dust beast, though the second one is harder to beat. It's faster, more prepared, and uses a saw instead of a garden fork. Unfortunately, as for the main body, the abandoned house, the blow dryer doesn't even get a chance. Nail gun. This is the vital instrument Rudo used when the cleaners were trapped inside a giant imitation trash beast, which was actually a defective Watchman series made by Zodil. It was a race against time. Before the trash beast reached the border and risked having everyone eliminated, Rudo and the crew had to clean up the mess and fight off the raiders. The nail gun was Rudo's main weapon for that. In its initial 3R form, the nail gun can shoot multiple nails as bullets, which Rudo uses to try and destroy the imitation trash beast's core. The firepower is arguably A level at best, but it's a hard matchup against a vital instrument like hands, as Bundus easily deflects all those shots, thus protecting the core as well. But in its powered up 3R form, the nail gun gains S-grade firepower. It turns into a mega cannon, becoming much larger and more powerful. It is the same nail gun as earlier, so how did Rudo evolve this vital instrument for the second time? As you already know, Rudo, by instinct, uses his powers to split up the power of 3R individually, which is part of the reason he can use it up to 3 times before he gets the nosebleed status debuff. But here, Rudo concentrates all those remaining uses into one item. A risky move that means there's a large possibility he can collapse after he finishes using the vital instrument. Nail Gun's second form, temporary name Nail Cannon, has superb power that makes the risks worth it. With the shot signal, the Nail Cannon fires one huge nail bullet that makes Bundus struggle to block. The second shot completely destroyed Bundus' vital instrument and even blew up part of the wall. However, Rudo didn't take the third shot. Even though the trash beast core was still right there, he held back. Seeing that he had already broken Bundus' weapon, though he later learned that Bundus can fix it, hit Rudo in the feels. He eases up, and the nail cannon fades away on its own. Anima transfer. You see, when Rudo unknowingly sent his Anima, basically the energy needed to awaken a vital instrument, over to Follow. That moment helped Follow awaken into a giver. After that, Rudo tried using 3R again to create another weapon since he only had the net and the blow dryer, but he couldn't. He had already hit his limit. At first, everyone thought Rudo had used 3R on Follow by accident. That made them worry that if Rudo turned off his power, Follow might turn to dust like other weapons made with 3R. Thankfully, that's not what really happened. Rudo didn't turn Follow into a 3R weapon. Instead, he did something no one else has done. He passed his Anima to another person. During the fight with the abandoned house trash beast, Rudo has one last chance to make a weapon, but he uses that power to Follow instead. He served as a catalyst for his awakening. This means that Follow already has the foundations to be a giver, and Rudo just triggered it. Now, Follow has traces of Rudo's Anima at his own source of Anima flow. So no, Follow isn't a 3R weapon. But the fact that Rudo can send Anima to others, and no other character so far except him can, makes the Watchman Gloves way more mysterious and powerful than we ever thought. Not talking about this ability, using Follow as the best example, would honestly be a crime. Because you see, when Arca Corvus discovered this situation, he looked at Rudo with this really strange expression. That stare from Arca? Yeah, there's definitely more to it. And Gachiakuta is full of stuff like this. If you want to dig deeper into the world of Gachiakuta and its craziest secrets, the next video is where you go.